The podcast you are listening to of Holmberg's Morning Sickness is brought to you by my friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, repeat. Trust me on this one. You've had barbecue before, but you haven't had it this good. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale, ericsfamilybbq.com.
Eric's Family Barbecue has arrived and is simply the best barbecue in Arizona. Come satisfy your taste buds with meats that are smoked over mesquite wood and sides that are made with fresh ingredients and tons of love. They have the best, juiciest brisket, pulled pork, rib sausage, turkey, or everyone's favorite, the Pitmaster sampler that includes all the meat and 4 sides, mac and cheese, potato salad, coleslaw, corn, or beans, yum. And for dessert, try some creamy banana pudding, amazing. Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meat, mesquite, repeat. Make the trip, you won't be sorry. Dine in or take it to go. Go to ericsfamilybbq.com for more info.
Holmberg's Morning Sickness. 98 UPD.
Good morning, everybody. Hello there. Welcome. Tuesday, it's 5:45. It's time for the Morning Sickness. My name's John Holmberg. There's Brady Bogan, Brett Festley, Big Dick Toledo. Let's do this thing. I am cloud nining right now.
I bet.
It's great watching what we affectionately, in my circle of Steeler friends, call Lamar Jackson Corky. Because he does look like he rode a shorter bus to school than anyone else. And to watch Corky suffer 2 losses, essentially, last night. To have to say good game twice because the game got so goofy at the end that they thought it was over and they had to go back and make another play. And then it went to overtime and it got weirder.
Classic, the mojo.
Oh, it was a weird
bad
thing. But watching Lamar fumble, gave the game back. Then in the overtime, fumbles again. It's just watching Corky lose it's a good 24 hours for me before I can come down off of that. What a game last night. What a great opener. Yeah, but a horribly played football game. Like the Raiders, a poorly coached football team, which hurts me to say because I like John Gruden, but all the false starts and the confusion.
How do they keep an offense 70? What is it, Steedman?
Huh?
Or the one offensive tackle who had
Leatherwood, the rookie. He shouldn't have been playing. 8
penalties last year.
Yeah, he had 17 in 2 years in college. But he shouldn't have been in there. They're doing that out of necessity, and he's a people mover, he's a giant. But they're just, snaps going by the quarter. You're like this team, and then the Ravens go ahead and they decide to be equally as inept. And it was just one of those games of just every once in a while something would pop and you get points on the board. But it was really ugly football.
Fun to watch.
Well, the ending was. The game itself was garbage. You know what was fun, though, and I don't know if you watched it this way, was Peyton and Eli calling the game.
Oh, I didn't. I forgot about that.
Here's the problem, though. Traditional broadcast team, you got Steve Levy and Lewis and Greasy, and so you're watching the traditional Monday Night Football team, and they've gone very football-heavy information, the way baseball has. Like the analyst, the analyst is all about statistics and analysis and sabermetrics and all that. Football guys, these guys don't have much fun in the booth.
Tear-jerking stories.
Well, they love to tragedy porn you. But they don't have much energy in the booth as far as, like, you can tell these guys go drinking after the game and there's stories to tell about. It's basic stats, figures, what this play is, all that. There's no real personality. You flip over to ESPN2, and I don't know if they're going to do an ESPN2 every time or if this was a tease for ESPN+, but Eli and Peyton are sitting in studios, somewhere else, not at the stadium, watching the game and just goofing around. And they had Charles Barkley, Ray Lewis, Russell Wilson, Travis Kelce, just Zoom. It was a Zoom meeting. But what it is, and to people like me who like a good old-fashioned Harry Carey traditional drunken broadcast, it's the new way to have that, which is the YouTube gamer stuff, the Twitch thing,
right,
where 2 dudes are just watching something else and commenting on it. So to traditionalists like me, no lie, this is sloppy. It's ugly. Every once in a while you hear a guy go, commercial break. And then, and then right in the middle of a sentence it would just end. Because there's no production value to it at all. They're in 2, side by side picture in picture screens, and then the third person would pop in. The sound was bad. They couldn't hear each other very well. They were talking a lot. While
like you said, gamer style.
It was gamer style. It's exactly what that is. And my friend's like, this is garbage. You can't. And I'm like, it's the future. This is what it's going to be like if you want entertaining broadcasts. The networks can't afford to do this because Charles Barkley and Travis Kelce's cussing, and Eli's like, I knew it. I knew this would happen. Like, he got excited that somebody was saying the S-bomb. Because he's like, we did this. I warned him that this was going to be a thing. And Travis like, oops. And it was, it was just this free-for-all of buddies watching a game, which was fun. Flip back over to ESPN, and it's just the old, it's the new-style traditional broadcast of 3 men in a booth telling you about the game. But Eli and Peyton were fun. And all I could think was pay these two and put Steve Levy between the Manning brothers and call this game. There was a great moment. Eli Manning, just in the middle of the game, is talking to Ray Lewis, and he goes, hey, Ray, you know how Peyton's head looks, right? And Peyton's like, oh, here we go. And he goes, what would you rather have? A game-worn Peyton Manning helmet full of quarters or just $10,000 cash? And Peyton's like, all right, that's it. And they just started going back and forth on each other. I'm like, that's missing. That's what's missing from a fun broadcast. The old.
Did they have the messaging scrolling like people could?
No, they did have tweets like every once, but they were in charge of what came in.
Gotcha.
So like Archie Manning said,
oh, that's true because they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, don't. Your mom says you're touching your face too much and scratching your head. So he's like, well, if it itches, and he's kind of joking about that, but it wasn't. But again, it's the way everybody under the age of 25 is watching everything, which is two picture-in-picture boxes watching somebody else do stuff. And it makes sense for football. I guess it makes sense for gaming, although to me, watching someone not move and perform something and not move to call that is odd. Like, I always thought it was weird that the people who've made a fortune off of calling people playing video games, my head doesn't wrap around that real easily.
Or watching them play as they're calling
right, because you're talking about, and there's some stuff that those guys do in gaming that's amazing. My buddy Winston does, he Twitch games, but he's talking while he plays. Like, you watch Winston play the game, and he and his friends that are on there with it comment. And it can be pretty funny.
And then it turns into just nothing about the game.
Right.
Do these little skits or little challenges.
Sure. Because why not?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that Peyton and Eli thing, you can see the clumsy attempt to capture that audience. And it is very clumsy because they don't have, the sound was, Eli had a fire alarm go off in the middle of it for no reason. They couldn't fix it. Ray Lewis was in his Zoom coming through an iPad that was kind of noisy, and it wasn't good as far as like, wow, this is really top notch there on top of it. Russell Wilson started a story, and then Eli just said, I think this is, and then it goes to commercial, and we never heard the end of that story. It was just over. Like, at that point, it was just over. And then in the middle of another story, Russell Wilson told Peyton, said, can you stay for the overtime? It was like a slumber party. A kid just come running in from the kitchen. Can you stay for the overtime? And he's like, if you guys need me to, I got to watch a bunch of film, but if you want me to stay, I'll stay. To talk to Peyton and Eli Manning, I'll do it. Okay, cool. Commercial. And I'm like, well, he was in the middle of a thing. But it was better. It was better.
Now I want to watch it.
And I'll tell you, it was entertaining at the very least. They had a problem with, like, while you're watching the game, you can't hear how loud it was at Allegiant Stadium, which was loud. Evidently, that thing on my TV on the ESPN ABC broadcast, it was pumping through pretty loud. But they didn't have the sound up for the game. They're kind of slave to what the network is showing as replays and all this other stuff. They were great.
You probably would never watch it, though, if it was your team playing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I don't care who's calling the game.
It's
anyway.
not distracting.
So long as it's not Dan
because
Fuck.
you're watching the game so much.
You might be right because it is.
I would want to focus on.
It's more.
It kind of loses the.
I want it on the full screen.
Yeah,
I think that's the only reason. I'd love to hear Peyton and Eli call the game. But.
Yeah.
So where was this? Where do you tap into that?
Last night it was on ESPN. I don't know if they're going to do it on ESPN 2.
Okay.
I don't know if it's on ESPN 2 all year. Or if they're going to move it to that ESPN Plus thing, you got to go online.
So the game's on but the regular broad on ESPN 1 and ESPN. Okay,
yeah, right. and ABC. They for some reason ABC had it again last night. So, but it was definitely fun to watch. I had my first bad beat in the FanDuel.
Uh-oh,
it's my first bad beat.
Going to beat Mo Money Pond today or what?
No, it wasn't that bad. Not a financial bad beat, but oh my god,
car this afternoon.
This was the win. So in the beginning of the game, Anthony from Eric's Family Barbecue, he's a Steeler fan too, hates the Ravens. And he placed a series of bets that amounted to a $10,000 win. And I wasn't going to bet anything. And it's just Lamar Jackson is under 250 yards. The over-under on the game goes here, this, and that. And he had them all. He's like, if I hit all of them, it's $10,000. If I hit one, I make my money back. And
he created his own parfait.
Made a beautiful Eric's Family Barbecue peanut butter parfait. It wasn't even a parlay. They didn't all have to hit to make it work.
Oh, gotcha.
It was one at a time. But if all 10 hit, $10,000. So I'm like, all right, I'll do some dumb ones too. So I went on and did, was it Ingold, the kid that we met, the fullback that was at the Guns N' Roses.
Oh, yeah.
Ingold scores a touchdown. Derek Carr has a rushing touchdown, or Henry Ruggs catches a touchdown. Henry Ruggs catching a touchdown was $100. $50 bet doubles. Big deal. Carr was $550 for a $50 bet if he scored on the ground, and Ingold was $900.
That came close.
So at the end of the game,
Yeah.
overtime, I'm like, there's
Sneak,
Derek Carr
the
on the
sneak.
inch line. They're going to run 4 quarterback sneaks. Get the first one, didn't quite make it.
Leatherwood.
All you got to do is 3 more of those, and Derek's getting in. And they had every intention of doing another quarterback sneak. And then it wasn't Leatherwood's fault. Derek Carr did a hard count on the inch line. Trying to draw the defense off for half a distance to the goal when you're an inch away from the goal. It's stupid. So he does a hard count. His offensive lineman jumps. They go back 5 yards. Next play's an interception, and you're like, I was in. That was a $500 win. I think that's called a bad. I think I'm still in the bad beats with that. Bad beats are usually when the point spread gets beat up, or like a gambler's number gets hit. But that I got to call that a bad beat. But there it was at the end, and then watching Lamar Jackson slink off the field with dopey face. And Peyton was openly cheering against the Ravens. I don't think he likes them. He was like, "Come on, Derek Carr!" And they scored the touchdown. He's like, "Yes!" Like he openly hates the Ravens, which I kind of liked.
Absolutely.
Unless I was a Ravens fan, but then just turn it to the other broadcast where they're being fair. But it is. I think that's the future of sports broadcasting. To bring it back to what you like and what I like. You're a Sox fan, so Hawk Harrelson.
Oh, yeah.
Being
great.
a homer and kind of.
Yep. I want him yelling at the other team.
Getting mad against this guy's always throwing at everybody's head. Get him off the field.
Yep.
I love Hawk Harrelson.
Now, I can't think of anybody. Has football ever had anything like that other than this
Homers?
new way? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the
Ron
one thing I
Wolfley.
don't like about that.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
But there's
entertaining.
The thing that bothers you
a
about
good
the
point.
Homer call.
Yeah.
Homer call's fine when they're doing something bad and they're making excuses for it.
Yeah. I like.
oh well, you know.
Oh no, I don't like that.
bothers
Like Hawk would call a Sox guy out if he was screwing up. He'd call it out.
I always said a Homer guy was a fan. An apologetic broadcaster is not a Homer. He just doesn't know what he's doing. I don't want an apologist. I want somebody who's out there calling the game as I see it. Like, I'm down on Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think he should be out there for the Steelers, and all the guys at my watching the games with me like, wow, what a joyful experience it's going to be watching with you for 18 weeks. And I'm like, hey, the dude is a statue. He's the one reading out. Now, I'm making sense.
Yeah.
And I think they hate hearing.
You're being a wet blanket to them.
I'm wet blanketing Ben because he's a legend. I have the nerve to say, hey, he's our problem.
A little overdue.
This defense is championship caliber. The rest of the team might be. He's the issue. Like, he has to be perfect this year. If he has a bad game at like the first half, and you want that. You want somebody to say, I don't think it's going on, but this dude is going to kill us. So that was kind of what was going on with Peyton and Eli, and it was fun. So I have a feeling if that gets any legs underneath it, you'll see that thing start to spark.
What if the
a little.
numbers are higher on that?
What's
That
better
would be
names?
hilarious.
I mean, the Manning brothers calling. I mean, when you get guests that are popping in on Zoom, and they're talking about helmets full of quarters or $10,000. Which I mean, to think that Peyton's helmet is so big that all quarters would amount to $10,000. Would you just take that or the $10,000?
All right.
It was great. But that's why I grew up a Cub fan and watching Harry Carey. And prior to Harry Carey, there was a guy named Jack Brickhouse who cried when the Cubs lost games. Like, that team was in 1977, 78, they were horrible. And he would cry in June over a regular season loss that was, they're going to regret this when I tell, hey. I mean, he had this call, hey. And he'd get upset, and he'd get so excited when there was a home. So he lived and died with the guy calling the game. I think Bob Brenly's got a case of that. I think he's kind of...
Nuxall would just pass out by the seventh inning.
He was drunk and had the twisties way before we knew what that was. Fear strikes out. But it was that was Pearsall. Was Nuxall the Reds guy?
Yeah,
Pearsall was the drunk, and Marty Brenneman and Nuxall.
Yeah.
But I also liked Tom Brenneman because he was so by the book. Like, it was funny that he was the straight-laced everything, and he always had a guy next to him that was kind of half there. Yeah. With Cowboy with the Reds and Brenly here. They had fun, you could tell, but he was so by the book. And it was crazy that, he'd get in trouble with players sometimes for, Tony Womack, somebody's got to say something at this point. This guy's swinging at too many, and the next thing you know, he's getting a meeting with Buck Showalter and Tony Womack's mad that the booth is calling him out, and then he comes back and apologizes to Tony Womack. My job to manage the team. And I'm like, oh, Tommy, say what you say. Your dad wouldn't do that. His dad fought Ken Griffey. I miss that. Broadcasts used to be awesome.
Fun.
Yeah, they used to be
They're
fun.
not fun.
They're not at all. I'm a baseball.
Too many stats.
I'm a baseball fan. I get that baseball package every year. I love it. Even when the Cubs stink, I would be watching Sox games, or I'd be watching a team that Dodgers, Giants stuff's been fascinating. Those two teams are playing out of their heads. I'd watch that. I can't. Like Vin Scully, when the Cubs stunk and the Dodgers were good, I watched Vin Scully pretty much every night in the Dodger game. And he was kind of dry, but his stories were amazing. And he could call a game like nobody's business. That's all gone. Like, there's nobody good. They're all so afraid, and they're just running out stat after stat. It's like, this is boring. It's a math equation. I'm not interested.
You're not into the college football part of it, but pretty entertaining is that Gus Johnson calling college
He's become
games.
a caricature, though.
Yeah.
Like, he screes at everything now. It used to be he'd get excited
he's
at big
just
plays.
Mr. Excitement.
Now he's like, oh, there's a run for one up the gut. It's a 1 yard game.
And then
Gus.
he's got the straight guy with him, Joel Klatt, most of the time.
To me, when he used to call pro games, he was fun. And now it's like, hey, Gus, you're the guy that's known to get excited over everything. And now he's overdoing it a little bit. But it's because I like the authentic
It's a good fit for college football.
Sure, because, it's rah-rah stuff.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get people amped up for a game between two teams that aren't going to be doing anything in 3 weeks. One of them loses the whole thing.
After their loss.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But, yeah, it's different. But, yeah, the Peyton Eli thing was pretty interesting. And I didn't mind losing money. I would if it cost me $150 every time the Ravens played for them to lose, I would gladly pay it every week. The Ravens lose, but it's going to cost you $150. I'm like, who do I pay? Do you want a receipt? No, I don't even care to write this off. This is just going into a better fund.
And you could just see
Corky's
after
face.
that knee hit before the game, just going into overtime in that first score, the Raiders bench, even Gruden's like,
everybody's
they're calling
gripping.
it back up because you congratulate.
Yeah, they were on the field saying
and
it's over. Everybody's tapping, good game, stay healthy, blah, blah, blah.
And after that first sneak, that was interesting. Why not just
keep doing it? What's with the hard count? Tell you what, man, I watched this post-game presser, too, It's like they say around here, man, it's not pretty. Just win, baby. And they're like, hey, how about like the 45 false start penalties and the miserable coaching job? Doesn't really matter now, does it, man? We won the game. That's really all we're here to do. We got a lot to mop up. And I was like, that's how you do it. He didn't answer a single question. Eli and Peyton led on with an amazing piece of analysis, too. And Eli's like, it's time the cat got out of the bag on this thing. The press always asked us after the game, what kind of halftime adjustments did you? He goes, you know what we do at halftime? We walk the 58 miles it is to the locker room in these giant new stadiums. We grab orange wedges because the oranges are everywhere. They get oranges, maybe go to the bathroom, come out, and the coaches go, all right, guys, here's the plays we're going to run to start the second half. Just try to execute this and get out there. There's zero adjustments are ever made at halftime. We've got like maybe 1 minute of time before everybody settles down. He goes, it's a long walk. He goes, you got a minute of eating oranges, 2 minutes of eating oranges. And then he said, the only thing I remember at halftime is the second I felt like I could sit down, somebody would go, 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes, so we got to get back out there. And Peyton's like, never made an adjustment. The whole career.
Wow.
Never, ever made an adjustment. We do that on the field. And it's like, the media's got to stop asking us this.
Oh, they're going to get chewed out at half.
Right. The coaches are going to have to make some, maybe the coaches.
Get your oranges.
Maybe the coaches go and adjust. The players don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about it.
Yeah, the coaches are definitely meeting already. But
right. Halftime adjustments. There aren't any.
How about checking in throughout the game? Vader up there in the white suit.
Oh, Mark Davis's hair. And he's sitting next to Charles Woodson. And the two of them could not be.
The best high fives in the game.
It's ebony and the most ivory thing ever.
He looked like Prince Valium from
He
Spaceballs. That hair.
The suit, the all white. It's like he had John Travolta's Staying Alive suit on.
Yeah.
And that hair, Prince Valium. Yeah, he's an interesting animal. But the stadium looked great. It was fun. Football's back. It's official. And I had my first bad beat. Derek Carr couldn't just get 1 inch over into the end zone. Would have been a $500 win.
I said to after the game, I said to Ronnie, I'm like, how much do you think those slot machines are rocking from those people leaving the stadium and continuing the?
I wonder.
That's what
I
I
wonder
was
how
curious,
much
too.
of it, because, I mean, tons of people.
On a win, I would think they're let's go.
Tons of people were in for it. You know, I don't know how many locals. The locals have got to be. But we were there. The big mistake on that stadium is there's no freeway exit to it. So
I guess they would have been there a long time.
Locals are going to hate going down there.
Yeah.
Because they hate going to the Strip and stuff. So I wonder how much of it's going to be spiffs from casinos to hand over to Wales and stuff to get the good seats. 130 suites in that thing. It's just loaded with high-end amenities. But I know the hardcore Oakland people drove over, and they made the trip. So, yeah, it's just another reason to go to Vegas on a Monday.
Nothing but 64 Impalas in the parking lot.
There was a lot of that.
There's a section.
Yeah. Raiders! Yeah, who needs an overpass or an exit, Holmes? I'll park over here in my essay's place. He does, interiors for cars, and we'll park over there, man.
The tailgate's nothing but trash can fires.
Yeah,
that's true.
Although the new Oakland is Los Angeles. That stadium's 2 games with fans in it, and both times there's been a bloodbath fight. They had another one Monday night in the concourse. 2 dudes just beat the living crap out of each other. Blood all over the brand new SoFi floors. So let L.A. be the new Oakland. They're very angry in Los Angeles. We can't figure out why. It's all kumbaya, let the homeless poop in the streets kind of thing. And I thought everybody was on the same page. And is today the big recall election?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see the black Republican guy, Larry Elder, have that person threw an egg at him dressed in a gorilla?
Oh, yeah. I saw it.
Boy, if that was reversed, if that was a Democratic candidate and one of the Proud Boys rolled up in a gorilla mask and tossed an egg at him, this would have never not
Republicans
been.
at it again.
This would have been a top story all day long. This kind of went away. That to me, I'm like, oh, somebody's going to get in big trouble. What are you going to do? They hustled him back into the car, but they were screaming terrible stuff, and those Democrats are getting to be super duper angry people.
Oh yeah,
and the Republicans have always kind of had that thing. That's why us in the middle, we got to sit back and just wait for the fireworks. Maybe they'll kill each other off, and us logical, normal middle thinkers that haven't taken a side, because why would you? They're both insane. We'll kind of trudge through the center and go, all right, can we call them the Indians now? Can we do this again? AOC went to the Met Gala. That lady wants to tax everybody who makes $10 or more a year. And she looked hot, smoking hot. And then she turned around, the back of her dress said, tax the rich.
On the $10,000 dress?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That dress was not cheap. Yeah, I thought the same thing. It's like, that thing's but she looked good. I'd tax that as well.
Tax that ass?
I would tax that ass. You want to tax something? Let's tax that ass. And she's very angry about that. So, sorry, the rich. Look at her. I mean, she looks good. She's curvy. That's the closest thing she's going to get to a wedding dress, I think. Because nobody's going to marry her. She's intolerable.
She has no idea. I mean, that's just the epitome of...
Look at the curves on that congresswoman.
Yeah.
She looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd tolerate her views for a week or two.
Who's this?
I don't know. That Met Gala had a few good ones. Russell Wilson's wife.
That's
Megan Fox.
Oh, it is? Yeah, Russell Wilson's wife had a Russell dress on. It was really hot.
Really?
Yeah.
It said tax Russell.
It did, number 3. Russell taxes this. It was a nice thing. I don't get the Met Gala at all. The extravagance of the Met Gala from all the people telling us.
We've been wondering about it. What is it? It's like a week long.
It's a fashion thing. Millions and millions of dollars.
But there's different nights.
And it's all to celebrate each other. Millions of dollars go out the door, and they all make speeches about how they need to give more money to the environment. There needs to be more money towards schools. And I'm like, well, cancel this thing then. And all the money you would have used, put it. All right.
Can I go to the Met Gala? Nope. You don't have the.
I just don't. Yeah.
There's no reason why you.
Yeah. The poor people can't get tickets to it, and that's all they talk about is we got to help these poor folks out. I'm like, all right. And it is for charity, they say, the Met Gala.
But only the ones who make the cut get to go.
Right. Yeah. It's a class thing to tell everybody how unfair it is. This is why I ride the middle. I don't believe anybody on either side has any logic left at all. I'll just ride down the center, and you can call me mamby-pamby flip-flopper all you want. At least I'm not crazy.
Been so giving. I've been going to the Met Gallery for years.
It's amazing. I've got a $38,000 dress on that I'm going to donate to these poor people. And what are they going to do with that?
Cut it up.
Yeah, chop it up. Each chunk can be sold for $100, which you need to feed your family. I don't get it. I'll never understand it. And then I'll get emails from people, well, for charities for both. Yeah, but don't you think It's a little self-serving to go, look how beautiful I am, and also philanthropic, but mostly beautiful. Just give the money to a thing. Why do you got to show up? It's not a thing. People wouldn't do it. Well, then they don't care that much, do they? If we have to have an event that makes everybody say, look at me or else, then it's not. Then they don't care about whatever charity they're given to. Because if they really cared, they just hand that money over and go, I don't
whatever money they're making, just cover their nut that they need, and all the rest goes to.
But if I said to you, Brady, the Humane Society needs $1 million, and you'd be like, well, what do I get? You don't really care about the charity then.
Right.
Well, I'll put an event on where you can look great, and then like your publicist will put pictures out of how amazing you are, and then you'll get a ton of attention, and then your money will go toward, then I'll do it. But if I said, we're going to cancel it, and I'm still going to ask you for the money, and you're like, nah, if I don't get anything out of it, then you don't really care about the charity.
Well, the funny thing is she's saying tax the rich, but her dress cost $35K.
That's what Brady said.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Brady said
ridiculous.
35 was a little
somebody
low,
just sent me
wasn't
the
it?
article, $35K.
$35,000 dress, tax the rich. And her first argument, well, you can tax me too. Okay. But do you see the thing, protect her, and you're in a dress that's worth more than they'll make in a year?
How much does she make anyway?
I think they make a couple $100,000.
But it all goes to
All of it's
the poor.
taxed. She does. She just takes her bartender wages and
they're talking about her hair and
it's
everything
amazing.
being done is like it.
look. She's hot as sin. Something about her's got me.
Yeah, if
Nancy
you want
Pelosi's
someone
got
to
great
yell at
cans.
you,
Yeah, but
to yell down at
Oh
you.
yeah, even
Yeah.
still, Nancy Pelosi's got great cans. If you want like an Evita figure, is what you're saying? Standing
Yeah.
up top yelling at the poor. I agree. I like her. I think she's smoking hot. I don't want to listen to her, but that goes for almost every girl with men. We don't want to hear your opinions.
no, I
We
definitely wouldn't want to
tolerate
listen to her.
And you don't want to hear ours. But you tolerate them. And sometimes we're all like, wow, our opinions are meshing. It's too bad about your hair. That kind of thing. And that's what I've had people say to me. Too bad you're bald because you've got some interesting thoughts that align with mine. But you're ugly.
That's the
fine.
frustrating thing because all the old guys in the government, well, but she'd be a wildcat in bed, I bet.
They're every ounce,
Ooh.
every one of those guys. I can't stand a single word that comes out of her mouth, but I love watching her walk out of my office.
You know,
It's constant. They're old
everything
men.
that you're
They're old men.
trying to go after, try to prevent.
Yeah, old white guys are watching her leave the office going, man, oh man, that ass is nonstop. Because it is. She looks great. We can say it about Gavin Newsom all day. He's a handsome gentleman. Great looking. I'm sure there's plenty of congresswomen that would tap Gavin's ass if we gave him the opportunity. Saying the same thing about AOC. You want to tax this thing? Why don't you show me them taxing right about now? I think she's hot. I don't care about her politics. I've never cared about anybody's politics when it comes to hot. Hot outweighs thoughts and views. That's why every man in his cadre of kills has one that's like, I couldn't stand her, but I kept going back. I hated her.
Oh, yeah.
I had one in the mid-'90s that was just a abhorrent human being, just an awful... Ugh.
The lights are out.
But man, oh man, was that... It was a good, fun 3 weeks of just like, I can't... Every time I'm like done, I'm like, I'll never speak to this person again. I can't stand her. And then like 20
The
minutes
moon's
later,
aligned.
you get a call and you're like, all right, where are you at? Because I got nothing to do and I'm by myself and this is working out nicely. I hate you, by the way. And she hated me, too. And we didn't get along at all. I left her at a Burger King. That's the last time I saw her.
In the bathroom?
In the Burger King bathroom. I didn't
I
do
knew
anything.
it.
I didn't
Grab 'em in the biscuits?
I didn't digital underground her in the bathroom, but she went into the Burger King to grab something and we left and her friend was in the parking lot. I'm like, we done? This night's over? And she goes, I don't care. And I'm like, that's enough for me. And I just hopped in my car and I left. I don't know how she got home or if she got home. She may be dead. We hated each other. It was just this
Anger hookup.
She was a hostess at Tony Roma's for like an hour and a half and got like nobody liked her and she was booted. I loved firing her and I loved watching her walk out. I watched her all the way to the car and I'm like, God damn, she's an idiot. But I'm going to call her.
I'm going back.
I'm going in on that. Next thing you know, we're drunk at somebody's house. I'm like, it's a go. All right, we're going to do this. All right, and turn into Chris Collins. All right, Al, here we go. I'm going in, Al. And I did it, and then I like lay there and like, this is miserable. And then 2 days later, next thing you know, I'm sitting in some dirty apartment in Tempe going, what is going on? It just did it again. And it was magnificent. Now she's talking. It was a nightmare. It was my AOC.
John AOC reminds me of the second coming of Jodi Arias.
Oh, man. She's got a lot of work to do to get there. But, Joe, look, that's how much we don't care about personality when it comes to the physical. Every guy, women don't. Scott Peterson had a line around the block for visitation, and let's get to meet Scott Peterson after he cut his wife's head off, supposedly. Still, the jury's out on that, I think. We thought Jodi was hotter than her miserable crime, which is totally wrong. She's not.
Yeah, because they always showed her in that picture in the bikini with the blonde hair and everything else.
I went further. I saw the honey hole. I saw her tied to that tree naked. I saw all of them. I sought it out. And by the way, I'm not the only one. The reason that's a national case is because of how she looked. An ugly woman murders a guy. Yeah. The world doesn't know about it. But she was smoking hot, and it scared us into thinking we've all banged a crazy hot girl. We've all had that girl we knew wasn't right. I had mine. I left her to Burger King.
Look out.
Yeah, but they snap because we do terribly stupid things like leave them at the Burger King when they're at their peak of anger. Ah. Last I heard, the girl that I did these things with stabbed a guy in the head. She's the one he's fork in the hand?
Yeah.
Yeah, she waited in the bushes for an ex-boyfriend to come home. They hadn't been together for like a year and a half.
Oh, boy.
I was between their breakup and this incident, and she stood in a bush. And when he came home, he went to put the key in the door, and out of the bush, this fork goes right into the back of his hand and stuck. She stuck it and just went crazy.
Go Devils!
Yeah, she forked him. She forked him on the porch. And if I recall correctly, this gentleman banged her again a couple days later with bandages on his hand when she came back and love-bombed him with the apology.
That's a go-getter relationship there.
So anybody emailing me going, AOC could never... Oh, you'd bang that if that offered it up. And you'd probably be for like an hour and a half lying about how you want to text the rich really, really hard. I want to text everything. Whatever you say while you're naked.
Till I'm done.
Yeah. Once your clothes are back on, our views start straightening out again. But when you're naked, you can pretty much talk us into anything. Pretty much anything.
Look, you can save the world, but when you step into our $3 million mansion, there's
Right.
no politics, okay, babe?
Zero, baby. Text every room in this house. It's 6:16, but she looks hot in that dress. There's no denying that. And I think Nancy Pelosi's cans are the best 70-plus-year-old cans I've ever seen. She's got a rack on her. It's inappropriate to talk about these things, but if she's going to flaunt it, I'm going to look. That's how I say. She's got earlobes longer than my calves. She's got long ears because she's 90, and that's what happens. Your ears get bigger. Let's get a wake-up song, shall we? 585-9800, a good one to start off this glorious Tuesday morning where the Ravens are down 0-1. It's 98 KUPD. Wake up!
Arizona's most powerful rock radio station.
He said, fully erect.
98 KUPD.
You've been listening to Holmberg's Morning Sickness Podcast, brought to you by our friends at Eric's Family Barbecue in Avondale. Meet, mesquite, eat, ericsfamilybbq.com.